Are you hopeful about that with the current Pakistani leadership? And I say that obviously because we've also seen some significant overtures when it comes to, the normalization with Israel, sort of a rapprochement that sort of doesn't suggest what I might call certainly an independent line.
I think we are seeing really disturbing language from the Pakistani state about Israel. We've started to hear things like two-state solution. Pakistan has never believed in a two-state solution. Pakistan is one of the last countries in the world that has it forbidden for their citizens to enter Israel. It's written on our passports. Pakistan's position has always been the right of return of all Palestinians to their homeland, and a state without occupation and apartheid with equal rights for all. So to suddenly start hearing about two-state is really disturbing. I think that process has been in motion for a while. I don't think it's new, unfortunately. We heard during General Musharraf's dictatorship conversation about Israel. They've never managed to do it. And I think if they try to impose this on the Pakistani people, they will not be forgiven for it. But I'm never hopeful about governments. I'm never hopeful about power. And the only thing I am hopeful in is people.
But do you connect the two at all? Because some people might say that the political repression of, political opponents, people who are trying to maybe steer Pakistan, whether you agree on their political line or not, in a different direction, which they think of as in, the interest of their people, that line, the repression of those people, whether Imran Khan or anybody else, how do you see the connection, if at all, between that and the sort of direction that we're seeing the state take in international politics? Because you could argue, and some make the case, that these governments are not and have never been in service to their people. They are there for other functions, and that actually the imprisonment of political opponents is always a symptom of something much deeper at that level.
I mean, I have always been very clear that I'm not a voter of Imran Khan's. I don't support his party, and I've been incredibly critical of him and his party. Imran Khan, when he was in power, also jailed his opponents. He also cracked down on the internet. He also cracked down on what people were allowed to say on things like Twitter. So Imran Khan was no better on this level. There were horrific violence, acts of terrorism and violence during his tenure that he was, kind of not concerned with. You had a massacre of Hazaras when Imran Khan was prime minister. And Hazaras are, again, an ethnic minority who are hunted down and killed because they are an ethnic minority. And these Hazaras in Balochistan were waiting for the prime minister of the state to come and mourn with them, to assure them of safety, of justice. And he was meeting TikTokers at the time. So, I'm not a fan of Imran Khan.
Yes.
But I think what it asks us is to think very deeply and thoughtfully about politics. Imran Khan had the support of Pakistan's military when he came into power, and before that. His party manifesto called for an increase to the military budget, which is insane because they already take the lion's share of the budget. And we have to ask ourselves, did that support save him? No. Did it protect him? No. Did it protect his party? No, it didn't. So, working with that state may get you power, but it doesn't prohibit it from removing you from power and from depriving you of your liberty and your voice and plenty of other things. So we have to think about power differently. I mean, if we want to change the state of power wherever we are, I don't think we can afford to be expedient about using that power either.
And I mean, this is, of course, the eternal dilemma of anyone who enters politics, which is, how do you negotiate with the pre-existing frameworks that you enter into? And I think that's true here, like it is there. Yeah. And I'm wondering where you stand on, at a time where polarization in our societies is so profound, on this question of, oftentimes people will lean into things like the military or force as a way to not have to deal with the need for allegiances or alliances across societal lines.